let's go over our learning objective for this afternoon. So for PowerPoint Basic, participants will be able to create a presentation, and by doing so, I'm going to show you how to use a blank presentation and the design template. We're going to learn how to add a slide, add and format text, add picture, shape, and smart art, apply the design themes, and save your presentation. And after this session, there will be a part 2 for this quarter, and that will be on June 14. So let me just share with you some tips for creating an effective presentation. First, minimize the number of slides to maintain a clear message and to keep your audience attentive and interested. Keep the number of slides in your presentation to a minimum. Next, choose an audience-free font size. What do you mean by this? The audience must be able to read your slide from a distance. Generally speaking, a font size smaller than 18 or 30 might be too difficult for the audience to see. Choose Arial or Calibri as a font for doing your presentation. Next, keep your slide text simple. You want your audience to listen to your presentation, your information, instead of reading the screen. Use bullets or short sentences and try to keep each item to one line. Next, use visuals to help express your message. Okay, so by, use, by using pictures, charts, graphs, and smart art graphics will provide visual cues for your audience to remember. Add a meaningful art to complement the text and messaging in your slide. Okay. You could actually also make labels for charts and graph understandable. Sometimes you would like to make sure that the labels you have on your charts are very tiny, so make sure that they are clear and short labels so people could actually understand the chart that you are showing. Next, apply subtle, consistent slide backgrounds. Okay? And choose an appealing, consistent template or theme that is not too eye-catching. You don't want the background or design to detract from your message. However, you also want to provide a contrast between the background color and text color. And finally, check the spelling and the grammar. To earn and maintain the respect of your audience, always check the spelling and grammar in your presentation. So in this presentation, as I've mentioned, I have here some references, a link to Microsoft references that you could use to be able to read more information regarding presentation. So allow me to close this and share with you now the PowerPoint. So let's start by creating a presentation. So allow me to open the PowerPoint presentation. I have a shortcut on my desktop. And when you open PowerPoint, you will see a built-in themes and templates. By the way, we are using the Office 365 desktop version of PowerPoint. Okay, and this is the backstage view. On the left, you could see Home, New, and Open. And on the right, under the New, you will notice that you have the blank presentation here. Down at the bottom are the recently opened presentation, My Computer. And there's also a section about pin. If you are using or creating a presentation and you're frequently opening a particular presentation, you could pin it here. I'm going to show you in a little bit how to pin one. This will also provide you a list of the different slides that has been shared with you. Now, notice also that if you would like to be able to see more themes, notice on the right side, if you click on more themes, it will give you now some of the list of some of the themes available here in your PowerPoint. There you go. You have some sample themes right here. And in this themes, basically, these are the templates. These are the different design. You could use some of this for your presentation to get some kind of an idea. Allow me to scroll up again. You could also type in the text box, search for online templates and themes, just in case you are going to look for a particular template or a particular theme in mind. So in the blank template text box, I am just simply going to type business plan, and I will click on the hourglass to search, and this will actually give me some suggested, okay, templates. Notice I have here tech pitch deck, business plan presentation. Okay, so if I click on one, just to be able to see, it will give you a description on the right side. Okay, you could continue by pressing the arrow to bring you to the next template available. And as you click on it, you'll be able to see each one of them with the presentation and with a brief description of what the business plan presentation looks like. So once you have decided on which one to use, you could simply click on the create. Okay, so I'm just going to use one of the business conference presentation in a widescreen. So I'm just going to click on the create. You would like to use one of the template to get an idea. And there it is. Now you have a template open, presentation one. In here, it will give you different slides with suggested contents and heading. Take a look. That's a title layout where you could also put the title and subtitle. You have title and content layout with lists, and they give you a little description of what will be the possible things that you could put in. But there's already a layout and a background design as you go along. Now, if you decide not to use this, you could always just close it and go back. So if I would like to close it, you could simply just say Control W, and then you could go back to File, go back to New, and continue searching for other business plan template. Okay. If you have decided to look for another one, you could select again based on your search, which is business plan, and search again, and you could try looking at the other options. Okay. However, if you decide to simply just make your own presentation, simply click on the blank presentation. So I'm going to click on the blank presentation right now. Once you are in a blank presentation, notice what we have right here is the title of the presentation, the default title, presentation number 2. And I have the quick access toolbar, my ribbons that are available. And by default, I have the title slide active on my screen. In the Office 365 version of PowerPoint, what is new there is it will immediately give you the design ideas on the right side. Take a look. There will be some design ideas that you could actually grab to start preparing for your presentation. Some people prefer to start their presentation with a design, so they will give you creative ones. However, if you decide to just create your own presentation without design for the meantime and decide on the design later on, simply close with an X on the right. Here we go. Now, in selecting a blank presentation to create a presentation, so just as I have mentioned, the title slide is used by default. This is what you call the title slide. There are actually 9 layout built out. If you are in the home ribbon, under the slides, if you click the new slide, there are 9. There's the 9 built-in layout to choose from. And these are the 9 layouts that you have. After you select the first one, which is actually the title slide, the next time you click on the new slide, it will automatically add title and content. Okay? And that is actually the default way of doing it. Once you have selected a slide, you could actually still, so notice if I, without selecting that, if I click on new slide, title and content will automatically appear. If I prepare to use a different layout, simply go to your home slides and click on layout and select the layout that you would like to, or you would prefer to use. So instead of using the single title and content and you would like to use the two contents, simply click on the layout you prefer, and that's the layout that you're going to get. Okay, so there you go. And that's again the design ideas popping up. Let me close that. And I'm going back to my title bar. Now, in my title bar, I just wanted to emphasize certain things that you will see in every slide. In every blank slide, what you will see is what you call the placeholder. This is what you refer to as a placeholder. And it says click to add title. So if I would like to create a presentation, I would simply click right there and simply type the title. So if this is the PowerPoint presentation, okay, oops, again, if I could type it correctly, and let's say this is basic 2016 slash Office 365. Okay, so and that's a subtitle, and you could click away, and then you could move on to the next. All you have to do is simply click and type to be able to actually populate your text box. So I'm going to continue by showing you a more complete presentation due to time constraints. So allow me to close this. To be able to close a presentation without saving and not closing the application, simply press Control W and say don't save, and that will allow me to stay in PowerPoint and allow me to open an existing presentation where I have some notes that we could actually use to be able to build a better presentation. So I am going to start. So this is the title that we have. So in creating a presentation, these are the steps in creating presentation. I'm just going to demonstrate to you some of the features we could use in formatting text in PowerPoint. In formatting your text, or in PowerPoint, you basically use the same concept, just like what you're using in all the Microsoft Office suites, like in Word and Excel. Like if I would like to apply the number format for the first two items, I would simply select those two and simply use the number format, and I have the numbers selected. If I would like to apply the bullets, I could simply click my mouse right there, hold the Shift key, click the entire listing, and I could basically select the bullet I would like to use for my presentation. So I could use this bullet, I could use the round one, the black bullet, or this type of bullet. And it will actually be your choice of bullet that you could actually use for your presentation. So I'm just going to use this hollow square bullet for my presentation. Notice the spacing of each line in your presentation. You could basically again select the entire listing, and if you look at your paragraph, you have the alignments right there, line spacing alignment. And I could actually, before it says 8 points after, I could reduce that into a 6, okay? Or I could simply have no space in between and leave just a single spacing in between line to actually compress the information. So if you would prefer to have some compressed. Now, if I would like to enhance or increase the font, just like what I said, anything below 18 is too small. So you notice the placeholder, okay, is a dotted line currently. And there are handles surrounding each one to enlarge or resize, okay, my presentation. If I click on the border, that dotted line will turn into a solid line. By clicking on the border, you are literally like selecting the entire placeholder. that when I start increasing the font size, okay, from 18, and I use the increase font size option, you notice how it increases from 18 to 20, from 20 to 22. 22 might be, 24 might be too big, 20 will just be perfect. I could type 22 to try to see, and if 22 will actually be just decent for this presentation. So you could actually check and change your options, okay? And you could do and apply all other formatting options for any of your text by simply selecting the option. So if you would like to emphasize certain, word, like select blank presentation. So if I double click on the word blank, the mini toolbar will appear. I could click on B to make it bold, and that would actually allow me to be able to enhance the look of my presentation. So you notice the moment you double click, the mini toolbar will appear, which will actually provide you with a basic formatting option that you could use. If this disappears the moment you move your mouse, you could always use your commands or your option from your ribbon. So let me move on to the next slide. So on the next slide is adding and formatting more of the text. So you notice I have two columns or two sets of text box of placeholders in here. And I would like to move this. So basically, if I select steps to add and format text, I could use my shift key to select the entire range. I could cut it, Control X to cut, and simply click here and simply Control V to paste it. Now I have two of them. Both of them are in two boxes. I could select both of them. I could click the first placeholder, hold the shift key, and click again on the second placeholder to make them both selected. And I could, since it is size 16, I could now make them both size 20, which is good enough for me to be able to read all the information better than 16, right? And you could edit as easy. So whatever you notice, by selecting both of them, I'm able to format both of my placeholders text content. Here. Now let me modify again and continue with the next slide. Moving and resizing placeholder. Originally, just like what I've mentioned, you could actually change the layout of your presentation. Right now, I have titles and two contents right here. First text folder, second one. Then I decide, hey, I want to switch. I could actually switch, as I have mentioned to you, I could go back to layout and switch from two content to a single content. That's possible. However, again, if you have this, another way of doing it is by simply, you could also delete, okay, let me close this design ideas, select the placeholder and simply delete that placeholder. Once you have deleted that placeholder, you could click on the current or the active one and then simply use the handles to drag it to be able to align it. And that's now better. So you could also enhance the look of your presentation by doing that. If you see a double line, it's an indication in an error, okay? You could actually be able to edit this, right? So you notice that you have like a space there. So I could use a hyphen to be able to correct the problem. Next. Next, I would like to learn and show to you how to add pictures. These are the steps in adding a picture. Add a picture, select insert ribbon, add a picture. So I'm going to add a picture in here. One of the options you have here is in this placeholder is you could use this icon, add picture. This is the icon to add picture. So I could either use this when I click on this, will allow me to be able to open insert picture dialog box. Or, in here, I could click my mouse there and I could simply just say insert picture and picture from the device. So I have a picture up here that I would like to use. And this is a picture from my presentation. So Allow me to share with you the picture that I have here for PowerPoint. I have pictures and I have PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint logo. I would simply select that and insert picture. Once a picture is selected, you notice the picture format becomes active. There's a picture format up here. And the picture format will allow me to be able to do some correction about the darkness or the shade, the sharpness or the softness of the picture, the color, if I would like to use and switch color, artistic effect that could be applied to it, and of course, the transparency of the picture. You could also be able to apply picture style. Take a look, I have this active, and if I use any of the style as I hover, you could see the change in the look and the style of the picture. Okay, could be looking like it is in a frame. Okay? And as you scroll, there are other options that you could select from depending on the effect and the design that you would like to apply for your picture. And that is all available for you in here. If you just simply wanted to see the reflection, if you wanted to see just a drop shadow rectangle to make it look nice, I could leave that and I'm happy with the way the picture is. You could resize it by using the handles at the corner. These handles will allow you to make smaller or bigger. This will be a free rotate. Take a look. If I click and hold my left mouse in it, I could tilt it, okay, and bring it back to the position. So those are some of the effects that you could actually do. Next, let me move on to add shape or smart art. Now, you could simply add any shape to your presentation. To be able to do that, you simply go to the insert ribbon, and in here you have the different shapes. Take a look. These are the different shapes available that you could actually use. A lot of times when you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, you would like to utilize some of the arrow to point out or certain things. So if I'm going to add an arrow, I will use a black arrow right there. I could simply see my mouse now turns to a tiny black cross. I could click and hold my left mouse and drag and be able to create an arrow. And notice I have the shape format dialog box, which would allow me to be able to change the color and design of how, suggested design that we have here. I could have the one with just the outline, or I could have ones with a color. You could even change the shape fill depending on the color you would like to use. You could even use other pictures to be able to do that, or use gradient, color for your shapes. Okay, you could also do a shape outline and change the shape outline or the weight or the thickness of the outline. Okay, or you could use some other style of outline. And that's basically what you refer to as, as a shape. I'm going to just resize this and put this on the side for the meantime. Okay, so I'm going to put it right here for the shape. You could also convert a text into a smart art so it's more inviting for people to read than seeing a list just like this. To be able to do that, since you already have the content right here or the text, simply select the entire content. Okay, and simply right click on it. And one of the options you have there is what you call convert to smart art. Okay, and all I have to do is select the design that I would like to use. You notice as I hover, I see the look even before applying it. Can you see the changes that I have right here? So you could actually take a look. Okay, which one should I use for my list to make it more attractive, or which is appropriate for my list? So these are some of the available options. If you wanted to see more, there's more smart art graphic, and these are now by category. All, these are the list, process, cycle, hierarchy, relationship, matrix, pyramid, or even pictures and office.com. I'm going to go back to my list, and these are the suggested list layout right there, okay? So again, if you have this list layout, right? So you could actually select, and these are the description. You notice as I select, there will be a description and giving you like a preview of how it should actually look. Okay, and that's the short description at the bottom. So I tested one of them earlier, and so let's take a look at what we have used earlier, and let's see which one would look nice for our presentation. So if I so I have also the process, if you would like to use the process. If you think process would work better, it's showing you the process, you could actually use the process, right? And what if I use this? Would it actually? No, it will give me too many information. So I'm going to go back to my list, and I am just going to use a very simple list. If I apply this, I could always change it. Take a look. This is now my list, and this is now a smart art image option, and I have format to select from and edit it, right? I could even change color and make it multiple lists. If I'm not happy with the way it looks, I could always go back. You see, when I click on the drop down, and I could actually be able to see other options that is available as I see it. I think I would rather just use a simple listing just like this. See that? So, see the different options that you have. So, if I select one of this, there you go. So, these are some of the options that, see, these ones would allow me to be able to add pictures. Okay. And this could actually be a good way of checking. See that? So I have convert text, and this could actually be good and simple, but at least it will give emphasis and it tells you the step by step. Now, once you have selected it, take a look. I could even uh, use some of the enhancement, the smart art design, smart art style. So there are certain styles. There you go. I could use this style. I could use that style. Okay, so you could even use some of the style or suggested style given. There you go. So if I'm going to just simply use this, I think I like the way it looks. If you wanted to change the color, you could change the color. Okay, so if you wanted to have this color to be consistent with your layout, you could actually choose that color. And that's about the smart art. Okay, so now see how it actually made your presentation look a lot better. Now, next is how do we apply the design themes? Now, in the design, so notice we are just using a blank presentation. There's no design. Now, where can we find the design themes? And these are the steps. Simply go to the design ribbon tab, and these are the different design. If you notice, as you hover to a specific design, it will automatically apply and show you how it would actually look. Once you have selected the design, you notice there are sub-variant for every design that you will be able to select. So I could click on the drop-down arrow and select certain designs that are available. Okay, these are the designs available in PowerPoint. If you decide a particular design, for instance, I decide to use this, okay, and there you go. So it gives me that design. And look here, look at the variant. I could select the variant there to modify the color and the theme that's applied to this. So you could even change the color, the font, the effects, and the background style. So you're not stuck to whatever it's there. You could even customize it accordingly. So these are the different design available. So you could play around, you could actually try each one of them to see which is the better look. Look at this. If I have this and I could make the border darker, I could make it lighter, I could even make it look like this. So depending on the style of design, look, these are some design ideas that is actually given here. So if I select that design idea, it would even enhance the look of your presentation. Apply design. See, this will actually also be able to enhance the look of my presentation depending on the design. That's nice. Take a look. These are the suggested design that will be given to you by PowerPoint to enhance the look of your presentation. And you decide the design that you could actually apply. Okay, so let me continue. We have a few more minutes to work on this. And finally, the saving of the presentation. This is the way to save it. You know, you could nowadays, once you start creating a presentation, it's always wise to save it even if you have not finished, especially if you have added pictures, put in some text or graphics into your pictures. So I'm going to simply go File and Save As. In the Office 365 that we have on our desktop, you now have the opportunity to be able to save it in OneDrive. Once you save it in OneDrive, it will be easier for you to share your presentation to your colleagues because the presentation is in OneDrive and it's easy to share it even if the presentation will actually have a big memory and would have a lot of graphics and pictures in it. If you have a SharePoint available that you are using, you could also put it in your SharePoint location. You could also keep it within your document, within your computer, where in my case, I have my H drive. You could put it in your C drive or on my document folder. So wherever you would like to keep it, you could actually, I'm going to try to save it in OneDrive just to show you. So I have my OneDrive in here. And once you have kept your presentation on OneDrive, I'm going to save it in my 2020 training files. There you go. So I'm just going to save it in that folder and I would simply click on Save This. And I'm saving it as a PowerPoint presentation. There it goes. So it's now going to be saved as building a presentation, practice presentation right there. Okay, and this is actually saved in my SharePoint. Once in my OneDrive, once it is saved in the OneDrive, I want you to take a look that the share option will actually be easy to use. If you click on share, I could email this presentation to my coworker with no problem. Notice I could send the link. People who specify can only view, but if I would like them to be able to, to be able to edit, really, you could actually click in here and you could allow editing. So if you would like to share a presentation that you would allow your coworker to actually edit the presentation with you to share it in OneDrive, simply allow editing option and apply it. Once you have applied it, you have to specify the name of the person whom you would like to share this presentation to. So if I am going to share this, for instance, with my coworker, I'm going to just send it to my coworker, Rafael Tirado. He knows that every time I have a class, I share the presentation to him. I would simply click on apply, and there you go. The copy to building presentation is copied, right? And it's actually going to be brought to him, sent to him. So that's basically what is actually going to happen. And that's actually shared to him. This presentation could also be saved as a PDF file. And to be able to do so, you could simply click on Save as Adobe PDF if you have Adobe Acrobat Writer in your machine, or save again if you are going to save a copy, and save this as a PDF file in your shared drive, so on your OneDrive rather, and click on Save option. So those are your options to be able to do so. Okay, so that's basically what it is, and it's saving my presentation, and it's actually saved as a PDF file. Now, Since we have already saved it, I'm going to continue and give you additional information. So I would like to insert another slide, and in my presentation, I would like to insert another title and content. And I think I'm going to show you how to insert a table. So this is how to insert a table, okay, in PowerPoint. So in PowerPoint, you have an option to insert the table. If you go to insert, there is a table option. If you click on the drop-down arrow on the table option, I could select these blocks to indicate how many rows and columns of in a table I would like to have. So if I'm going to have 3 by 3, and there you go, you have the 3 by 3 table created. Another way of creating a table is you could always click on the drop down arrow and select insert table by telling how many columns and rows. So if I would like to have 5 columns and 2 rows, and that's what it is, okay? Another way of doing it is if you again go back here, you could draw a table. You could literally draw a table. Take a look. I could click, I could drag, I could draw. Okay, I have one column. If you are good with lines, you could create rows of information. However, since I drew a table and on my layout, I could simply add more rows at the bottom. Okay, and I could insert again to the left another column to the left. So that will be an easy way to be able to do that. And lastly, if I could also insert, you know that you could insert an Excel spreadsheet in PowerPoint. So if I click on Excel spreadsheet, there you go, give it some time. There is Excel spreadsheet. Let me bring it over here. You notice how, look on top, my options have changed to an Excel. So I could see the grid lines. If I click away from it, I could move this again in here. I could resize it. And again, if I would like to edit and use this, I could double click and it will actually give me, the Excel worksheet. And look at my option up there. It has changed in Excel. So that's how you insert a table, blank tables in your PowerPoint. One more. Okay, what if you have an existing Microsoft Word table and you would like to bring it in to PowerPoint? Also, sometimes you have an Excel file that you would like to bring in to your presentation. So this is what we are going to do. I am going to insert another slide, and I'm just going to use, let me use the two contents so that I could show you. So inserting, I'm just going to insert a Word table or a document right here. Okay, so take a look. So I have, and I'm going to share with you the document that I'm going to insert. Okay, so at least you could take a look at the document I'm going to use. And this is a presentation. Give me a minute. I'm trying to open my presentation and see. Okay. Just going to open. Give me a minute if I could find my table so that, oops. Okay. This is a Microsoft Word. Can everybody see my Microsoft Word table right here? And this is the tables that I would like to bring in to PowerPoint. Now, when you're bringing in table in PowerPoint, you could actually embed it and make it just like a picture in PowerPoint, or you could actually link. So allow me to be able to show that to you. So I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to show you how to insert a word table. So using, again, the option called Insert, on the right, under the group text. There is an object. Click on the object. And in the object, okay, it will open up a dialog box. Okay, let's wait for my PowerPoint. My PowerPoint is not responding. There you go. And I would like to get it from an existing file. So I would browse, and it is in my document. I have a folder that contains that file. That's my PowerPoint part 1, and that's my exercise file, table file. That's the name of my document. Click OK. Now, take a look. I am just going to bring in this file, right? Insert the content of the file as an object into your presentation so that you could activate it using the application that created it. That's what's going to happen, okay? So I'm not linking, I'm just bringing it over. So I simply click OK and give it a few seconds, and you will be able to see the content of that document in here. These are now my table. So it's now embedded right there. It's just like a picture within the PowerPoint. Another way of doing that, if you want it to be linked so that if there are changes in the document, you want the changes to be reflected in the presentation so you don't have to constantly update or making sure that the information is active or current. So to do that, you do the same thing. You go to insert, you go to object, and you select create from files. You browse and you select the file. Once again, we are using the file from this folder, exercise file, table file, click OK. But I will now make sure it is linked. There you go. I link it. So, okay, insert a picture with a file content. When it's linked, we'd actually be able to see the picture will be a shortcut to the file so that the changes to the file will be reflected on your presentation. So I'm okay with that. I would like it to be linked so I could see the changes. If I click OK, it will now be added here. Take a look. It's just this exactly the same table. But what's the difference? This is linked. This is not. Okay. So if I go back to my Microsoft Word, the current color of the heading, category, title, and URL are red. Okay, so I will select that and I will replace that now with a blue color, dark blue color. Okay, and I would increase the size to size 12. Okay, and I will center align the table. So that's the new change. And I click away. I save the changes to Microsoft Word document. When I minimize this, now take a look. I want you to take a look. Look at the two table. The first one that's not linked did not change because they're just like embedded picture. The one that's linked, notice how it actually picked up the changes. And that's the advantage of linking your document, okay, into your presentation. Beautiful, isn't it? And that concept, you could also do it with your Microsoft Excel file that you would like to bring in. I think I have few more minutes to be able to insert an Excel file. So I'm just going to add another presentation and take a look. I'm going to do two contents, and this time I'm going to insert an Excel table or file. Okay. So again, I have an Excel file in here and that I'm going to use. I'm just going to say insert object and click on this, and I could browse and I could simply select the file. Okay. One option, there you go. Select my exercise file and I have an Excel file right there. So click OK. And I could actually also put a link for any changes. I click OK, and that will be a link. Okay, so same style, same thing that I did in Microsoft Word, whatever file, it's actually right there. Another way of inserting an Excel file or, a Word file, if you notice when I was inserting and when I'm in this option as object, when I selected create from file and browse through the file, I'm going to browse again and get the same Excel file from my list, okay? But I wanted to show you, so that it's now right there. Okay, I've selected and browse it. Do you see the option display as icon? If you do not want to see the table, but you just wanted to have the icon available, this is what you're going to see. And I click on OK. What will happen is in your presentation, you will just be able to see this. So you could position it, if you have some text in here, you could position it somewhere that only when you need to open the file, you could actually open the file. So you see this? Okay, so if I share this on a reading view and double click on it, oops, sorry. Okay, and I double click on it, oops, I double click on it. Okay, there you go. My mouse is so sensitive, it will automatically, there you go. It automatically opened the Excel file for me. And that's what's going to happen when you use this icon. You don't necessarily have to have this, but you could have this icon and only when you needed to open it, it will automatically be able to open for you. And lastly, we are going to insert, okay? So I'm going to insert another slide. And I'm just going to use title and content slide right there. And you notice how you could actually insert a chart. Okay, and when you insert a chart, you notice there's an icon for chart. All you have to do is select the chart that you would like to use. So if I decide to use this 3D clustered and click on OK, you notice how it will create the chart for me and will give me this Microsoft chart in Microsoft PowerPoint. And this is basically like an Excel worksheet that I could replace this with the information I would like to use. So if I'm going to use this as like area 1, okay, and I would say simply select this option as area 1, and this could actually be like quarter 1, quarter 2, okay, and quarter 3. Okay, and you could also replace the options in here. So I have area 1, area 2, area 3, and area 4. And I could replace the numbers if I would like to. Okay, and when you click away from it, you now have the chart in here. You could close this, and this is now a chart. And you could put your chart title in here. You could change the color, and notice there's a chart design and format that you could use. If you would like to prefer to use a different style or design, there are options that will be given to you to enhance the look and select the design that you would like to use for your chart. So I guess this is it for this afternoon. I hope I have given you all the basic information in building a presentation in PowerPoint. In part 2, I am going to show you more about inserting pictures, doing transition and animation, and applying timings to your presentation in PowerPoint. So I'm going to try to crunch all of this, and then eventually, hopefully in the near future, I could offer an in-person training to all of you, so you could, for those of you who would like to come, to be able to experience building a presentation, in the classroom with my guidance or assistance in creating a presentation with you. So I think that is all for today, everybody. And I would stop, okay, my sharing. And I would like to see all of you next time. And thank you for joining me this afternoon. I hope to see you again in the near future.